With the able-bodied assistance of a small little group here of my 2011 and 2012 little Redfoot Tortoises, we're going to talk today about feeding your Redfoots, the right things to feed them, the right percentage, all about the calcium to phosphorus ratio, which is critical when you feed any tortoise, even Redfoots, and what oxalic acid is and why that's not a good thing. So let's get into it right after this. And this is what you saw me feeding them up there, and I've broken this up into 4 relatively equal parts to make the math easy when we calculate the calcium to phosphorus ratio. What you see here are collard greens, which are a good food to feed once in a while. As you'll notice when I show you the chart in a few minutes, these are very high in oxalic acid, which is a bad thing, and I'll tell you why that's bad. So you want to feed that occasionally. Here's radicchio, which is part of the chicory family, same as dandelions. Very good, has a moderate level of oxalic acid. Turnip greens, one of the best greens you can feed them. Turnip greens, very good calcium to phosphorus ratio, very low in oxalic acid. Because Redfoots need a fruit component, here's some cantaloupe, kind of the melon family, which again is very low in oxalic acid. It doesn't have the best calcium to phosphorus ratio, but as I'll show you in a moment, when you basically put all these together, I can show you how to calculate that ratio so you'll know you're feeding your tortoises just the right percentage. And here's a spreadsheet that I've done that basically provides you with the core diet for a Redfoot tortoise, and this would qualify for almost any forest tortoise that's out there. This top half is all the fruit, the bottom half are all the greens and the other components, and the big one I've got in there obviously is mushrooms. This is the calcium to phosphorus ratio, which I talked about earlier, and this is the actual oxalate or oxalic acid concentration within these foods. That plays an important role that I'll get to momentarily here. The reason I add mushrooms is because in the wild Redfoot tortoises, a large component of their diet, and that for the uptake of calcium and minerals, is actually mammal feces and mushrooms. Mushrooms are very high in minerals, as everybody knows, but also they have a horrible calcium to phosphorus ratio. So you don't want to feed mushrooms too frequently. I give ours a little bit once a month, and that's about it. And here's the reason why I'm having that chart there, the level of oxalate concentration. This is a description of exactly what happens when humans and tortoises process oxalic acid the same way. What happens? So you can read right here, basically, key factor for calcium oxalate stone formation, kidney stones. Basically, you feed them a lot of that food, you'll create kidney stones in your Redfoot tortoise, in any tortoise. And here's the other piece that's here, where it says it because it sequesters calcium. What that means is it blocks the absorption of calcium by the tortoise. So when you saw on there the collard greens were 14.5 to 1, this fantastic calcium to phosphorus ratio, only a small piece of that calcium is actually able to be processed by your tortoise because it's blocked by the high level of oxalates, which form oxalic acid. And that's why you want to make sure that you feed very little foods high in oxalic acid. Now let's take a look at that meal that I fed them here. I fed them collard greens, radicchio, turnip greens, and melon. And I pulled down from my chart here the calcium to phosphorus ratio of each one of those, the oxalate ratio. And what I did here is I removed 2/3 of the calcium component of collard greens to account for the high level of oxalates. So it goes from 14.5 to 1 to 4.8 to 1. So when I add up those 4 pieces, so this one, this one, this one, and this one, I get 12 to 4. If you divide it by the 4 items, you've got a 3 parts calcium to 1 part phosphorus ratio. That's the calcium to phosphorus ratio of that meal that I just fed my Redfoots. That's excellent. 2 to 1 and above is perfect, and that's exactly what tortoises need, and ideally that's exactly what human beings need as well. So that's a simple way where you can go out there, if you don't mind doing a little bit of math, you can actually calculate the ratio of what you're feeding your tortoises to make sure that it is correct. Now this isn't a comprehensive feeding one on the Redfoots, because Redfoots do need animal protein. You know, I suggest low-fat cat food, which they need once a week when they're small, in very small quantities, when they're adults in bigger quantities. And I have a specific video out there for that. It's this one right here called Redfoot Tortoise Diet, Meeting Their Need for Animal Protein. This is from my channel out on YouTube. You can find that and watch that one, and that'll show you all about how to basically mix in animal protein, why it's important as a constituent for them. I also add mushrooms in that particular one. And if you're not a subscriber to my channel, I would suggest you would if you're into the Redfoots. You can find that out on YouTube. Ernest Johnson is my name. YouTube's a little slow here. And you can find it out here. I go under the username Redfoot Tortoise Man. And I've got all my different videos out there that, so you subscribe, you can watch all of them. I'll continue to do more and more of these, especially as I get recommendations. So there you go. Thank you very much. There's how to and what to feed your Redfoots, how to feed them correctly.